Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks took to X to make a post calling out Elon Musk for his threat to sue Jamal Bowman after Jamal Bowman went on CNN several days ago and called Musk both a thief and a Nazi. Let's read this post. From free speech absolutist to sensitive drama queen, Elon Musk threatens to sue anyone offending him. True? Oh, you got called a Nazi and a thief? Boo-hoo. I've been called a Nazi countless times by the hypersensitive left and terrorist by nearly every Israeli supporter. Who cares? You've been called a Nazi countless times by the hypersensitive left. I'm sorry, but you have no evidence of this. I watch plenty of leftist channels, hardcore leftists, people like Emma Vigeland, Sam Cedar, Brian Tyler Cohen, David Pakman, these people who have discussed this stuff, some of them with Cenk Uygur, and Francesca Ferrantini as well, who debated Cenk Uygur and got very aggressive with him. None of these people have called him a Nazi. Vosh, Destiny, all these critics of Cenk Uygur from the left have not called him a Nazi. What on earth is he talking about? So I totally agree with him in his criticism of Elon Musk. I applaud that. I give him credit for saying Elon Musk is not a free speech absolutist and that he is a sensitive snowflake who can't handle some mild insults. But this idea that, I was called a Nazi by the left countless times, quote, countless, he said. He has to throw this in there to play the victim. It's something he's been doing so much on X lately, is this both sidesism. Bill Maher kind of does it too. What on earth are you doing with this both sidesism in this era? Trump has been in office for over 2 months now. He's decimating the federal government. People are losing their jobs in the federal government. There are plane crashes happening because he's deregulating the FAA. He just got this CR passed, this CR that is a terrible spending bill thanks to the spinelessness of Chuck Schumer. Really? We're going to witness some massive redistribution of wealth from the poor and the middle class to the top 1% as a result of this administration. And you're complaining about people on the left calling you a Nazi? This is not helpful. I'm sorry. There are people on the left who needlessly call people Nazis at times, who are hypersensitive. None of them are calling you a Nazi, Cenk Uygur. I'm sorry, I watch all the progressive channels. They do not call you a Nazi. They criticize you for other things. His take on other issues like transgender people in sports, his take on Trump being a populist and Trump supporters being against the establishment and populists on the right, which it's pretty much a mirage for the most part. A lot of them are not sincere in their opposition to the establishment. And people on the left are rightfully calling him out for that. That doesn't mean they're calling you a Nazi. They might call you other harsh things, you know? They might say, oh, you're a bootlicker, you're a fake enlightened centrist, whatever. You're an idiot. But that's not a Nazi. You have not been called a Nazi countless times. I'm sorry. But this is one of those tactics, yeah, the enlightened centrist thing. And why it's wrong is it plays exactly into what the right is trying to do. They're trying to say, oh, you just call everyone Nazis. That's why we win. Yeah, you're the unhinged ones. And it's like, no, people on the left, is all of their name calling correct? Do they name call a bit too much sometimes? Yes. But people on the left are mostly focused on policy. We're focused on, we want to get the right policies passed, and you are standing in the way of getting the right policies passed. And not only that, but you are fighting for awful policies, and we need to call that out. And if that involves name calling at times, so be it. You know, it's kind of hard not to call someone, for example, a Nazi when they do a Nazi salute. Or when they say that immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country. That is something that Hitler said about Nazi Germany. And Cenk Uygur even said that too. So it's weird for him to be weakening his own side's criticisms of the right, where he's saying like, oh, yeah, they call me a Nazi all the time. And now people on the right are going to see that and they're going to go, huh, interesting. Okay. See, even this leftist, he gets called a Nazi by people on his own side. That's how crazy the left is. It's like, yes, there are some elements of the left that are crazy, but trying to poison the well so much by saying, oh yeah, I get called a Nazi countless times, that's totally inappropriate. That's totally wrong. I'll continue. So he wrote, grow a pair, use your own speech and stop complaining about getting called names and stop using your wealth to try to intimidate others through lawfare. This is massive hypocrisy, but most importantly, rich people suing others for speech ruins the marketplace of ideas. I 100% agree. I agree, dude. It has a chilling effect on speech, but at the same time, you're ruining the marketplace of ideas by falsely accusing people on the left of calling you a Nazi countless times. And you know what? Fine. I would stipulate it's possible at least one leftist has called him a Nazi. He didn't provide any evidence of that. I still have not seen anyone do it. So maybe he has some direct message from a hardcore leftist, you know, Commie John 84 or something like that, who's saying, Cenk, you're a Nazi for what you said. I can't believe that. That was so bad. That thing you said about transgender sports or whatever, or homeless people or crime. You are a Nazi. You are even worse than Hitler. You know what? Maybe he's gotten 1 or 2 messages like that. Who cares? That's 1 or 2 people. That's not countless times. He's deliberately exaggerating things. And by deliberately exaggerating things, you see, he's giving people a misimpression of the left. And that is damaging the marketplace of ideas. In order for people to take progressives seriously in their criticisms of Trump and the Trump administration, people need to know that progressives are level-headed, that the criticisms that they make are more often than not valid, that the name-calling that they resort to is usually based in truth. And Cenk Uygur is not a Nazi, obviously. Say what you want about him. Say all the criticisms you want about him. He's not anything close to a Nazi. But for him to go out and say, the left is countless times has called me a Nazi, it's harming the marketplace of ideas. It's feeding into exactly what the far right wants. They want you to think, oh, those lunatics on the left, they just call people Nazis all the time. Even if you disagree with them just a tiny bit, you can be far right or you can be just center left and they'll still say you're a Nazi. If you're just to the right of Stalin, they'll accuse you of being a Nazi. That's how they're trying to portray the world. That's how they're trying to portray the left. And Cenk, when you tweet stuff like this, you help them in that task. That is shameful. That is shameful. So I think that he should apologize for saying that on X. He should say, no, I have not been called a Nazi countless times by people on the left. And you know what? I bet if he can say, if someone actually has called him a Nazi, someone on the left, he can say that. He can say that's happened before and I didn't sue them. And that is a totally valid point. I'm glad that Cenk Uygur and that left-wing commentators and right-wing commentators are out there suing people who call them stuff like Nazis and communists and all that stuff, fascist. Most left-wing and right-wing political commentators have thicker skin than Elon Musk. But please, be responsible with your rhetoric. Let me know what you think about Cenk Uygur's comments. Like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. This has been The More the Merrier, and I look forward to speaking to you in my next video.